like, whatever happened in that run. The VOD's available for people to catch up, because Twitch only keeps the VODs temporary. So we are going to pop in. We are doing a high-ish pop run. So for those who missed yesterday, we did die on our top of the world run. And it wasn't some, like, big glorious death or anything like that. I went to shove past a zombie. I don't know if, like, if I didn't hit my shift key right, or didn't register, or instead of, like, hitting at an angle to bounce, I just, you know, bodied them. But whatever happened, I bumped into a zombie, I didn't go through it, it grabbed me, and then everybody dogpiled me. And then that was that. We did at the end, though, just to see... I did jump off the building to see how many bodies were down there at the place we were drawing them all to. And it was a ton. There were also a ton of not dead zombies there, but there was definitely a lot of zombies who clearly died from the fall. I would guess it was maybe 10 stories down, because it looks like the building went down maybe 10 stories and then widened. And where I thought we were right about there, we were still about 2-3 stories above that, where I was still actively, like, clearing the floor. Our 16 times pop is still alive and all that. The 16 times multiplayer one is still alive and all that. And to be clear, we do not have the radio channel, but we are solidly in the helicopter can happen range, and has not happened yet. And I'm starting to absolutely regret having Wakeful, because Wakeful on the plus... Oh, and our water was turned off the last stream. We still... Our water's in great shape, we just have sinks and toilets and that everywhere. But our water is officially off. So I grabbed the peach. We're going to need more than just a peach for food. Let's grab the TV dinner. Let's grab a chicken leg. Okay. Well, we can probably put away the soda, since we got a bottle of water now. Weapon-wise, I've got a wooden mallet, 2 screwdrivers, a hand fork that's not great, well, and a hatchet. And I could have sworn I had a second metal bat somewhere, and I, for the life of me, cannot figure out where that was. It is entirely possible I already broke the first one and then grabbed the second one and forgot. And I know I've looked through all of this like 8 times. Because what I would have assumed is I put it on this shelf. Oh, we got a lead pipe. That'll work. Let's check the bedrooms here. I'm betting what it is I'm betting as one of these bedrooms, and my inventory was overfilled at the time. So I opted to not grab it and be like, oh yeah, I'll come back for this. And then, you know, 30 seconds went by and I forgot I said that. That's exactly what it was. I just vaguely a minute ago was just like, oh, yeah, wasn't that over here? I'll still use the lead pipe first. It'll break relatively fast. Alright. And I'm kind of avoid going outside for just a minute, because it's dark. And one of the lessons you learn very fast in Project Zomboid. Oh, right, I also got the claw hammer rebuilt. Okay, there we go. Cool. And one of the things you learn in Project Zomboid very, very quickly when you're trying to do, like, long-term survival runs is just to be risk-averse. And one of those risks to be averse to is going out when you can't see well. So when it's deep, deep, deep fog or, like, super dark, it's usually good to make the decision to, you know, not go out, do whatever you gotta do at home, like work on your food, craft your weapons, read a book, those kind of things. Deep fog in the middle of the night in rural areas. Yep. Oh yeah, because when you start getting to be a player who can do marathon runs, like, because I would say the major milestones when you're playing Project Zomboid is your first milestone is being able to get in a fight with zombies, like in just a couple of zombies, 2 or 3, and not fall over dead, or at least not get injured just about every encounter. That when you can kind of fight 2 or 3 zombies, reliably not getting hurt, that's kind of your first milestone. That's you got the absolute most basics of combat figured out. Then I'd say the next milestone is being able to manage when you pull a little bit more zombies than you're really necessarily ready for, and either fight them down or get away from them cleanly with any level of success. Then it would be surviving through the helicopter event. And that's kind of the big hurdle. The other two you could sit down and in one play session you're probably going to get to the point, assuming you're actually fighting at all, you'll probably get down to the point you can handle fighting a couple of zombies here and there. And then you get to that kind of the 1 week mark where the helicopter happens. And that's the big hurdle. Because that, you have to actually start putting some strategy in, have a plan, that kind of thing. And you'll get luck and survive the helicopter sometimes and get unlucky other times. But, like, when you can mostly kind of be like, okay, I can get through the helicopter is kind of your next milestone. Once you've gone past the helicopter, the next milestone is just make it a month. And once you've made it a month, the next milestone wouldn't be like 2 months or whatever. It'd be survive till winter. Then it's get past winter. And then once you've gone past winter, there's really not major milestones after that. Once you've been able to successfully survive for like the 5 or 6 or 7 months, whatever it is, to get to the other side of winter, like you've got every skill you need to just live indefinitely in the game. So at that point, like, yeah, you can make number bigger, but there isn't some like, oh, you've hit this threshold. All that. That's kind of you hit that, like, cap, as it were. Gets back up before we aggro more. Because keep in mind, it is it's more likely the helicopter will happen today than it is the helicopter will not happen today. Because the helicopter shows between 5 to 8 days. We've already got into that window. And while technically the probability is it'll be either today or tomorrow. I believe we're down to those last 2 possibilities. I will definitely say, in my time playing Project Zomboid, it's very rare I've had it go to the last day. Not never, but it's very, very rare that the helicopter shows up at the last possible day. And part of that's just how it deals with the whole thing. I don't know what the % chance, but when you go in, it's not, at least to my knowledge, it's not like the game starts and says, okay, the next helicopter is happening this day, this time. So much as, like, you're in that window, the helicopter has a % chance of happening here. It might actually roll it in advance, the first one. That's actually a mechanic I never dug into, because knowing how it works doesn't really change anything. They do announce it, though, so you don't ever had to deal with it directly. You mean the helicopter? Because, like, the helicopter, if you have the radio station, then yeah, you can just pull it up. Yeah, unfortunately, my run, I have not gotten fortunate enough to get the channel. Just hide in the closet during the event? That is a choice. Just be aware, well, technically, there is a non-zero impact on not being seen by the helicopter. It doesn't really change it in any meaningful substance. It's still circling the area, that kind of deal. That's his afraid of. because the game is dumb and will target someone getting up over a crawler actively grabbing you. The game's not dumb. It's just, there's a target priority when you're dealing with a crawler, where a crawler that is a very immediate threat is considered the secondary priority over a zombie that is just really not a threat for a good couple more seconds. And it has been a thing for a very long time. And it has gotten... I don't think I've ever died to it, but I have gotten injured by it, where I was risking death. And it happens to be... The way it works is you have a crawler, and then you have a zombie starting to stand up from being downed at the same place the crawler is, and it will prioritize the zombie standing up, which still has a couple of seconds before it's going to be your threat, versus the zombie that is, you know, on the ground actively reaching out to grab you is the right now this needs to be dealt with. And not all crawlers are lungers, but some are. Yeah, so it's just kind of one of those things that's like very genuinely, it's like, okay, when you're dealing with any zombies that aren't standing and you've got two of them there, and I can see circumstances where I would want to hit the one standing up. If the crawler's a little farther back and the one standing up is almost done standing up, sure, but most of the time my concern is the one that's trying to go for my ankles. Santa Claus is coming to town hits a little different here. Yeah, I mean, usually Santa Claus coming to town, when it hits you, it's more of like a an emotional, like, positive thing. This one feels more like lead and blunt force trauma. So if I had the radio, this would be the point I'd pull out the radio and be like, is the helicopter coming today? Because 8 a.m. is the earliest you can check that. I don't have the radio, so we get to be blissfully unaware. So instead, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to eat my peaches. Put away my book. Put some chicken leg in there. Now, the earliest a helicopter can happen is 9 a.m. So, in just a couple of real-life minutes, we can have it show up. It shows up on the hour, but you might not actually hear it till like 10, 20 in-game minutes afterwards. Just because when the helicopter shows up, say I'm here and the helicopter shows up, what'll actually happen is the helicopter will appear over here somewhere, you know, wherever, and then it flies in, and it'll circle the area a bunch. Then it flies out. And then after that, it'll do... I don't know what it is at... To be... Like, this is something I should know. With the 1.5 hour days, which is the default now but didn't used to be, I don't know how many passes it can do. With 1 hour days, it was between 1 and 4. I would assume with 1.5 hour days, it's between 1 and like 6. Just as a guess. But I do not know that off the top of my head. It doesn't really change much beyond how long do I have to potentially endure this. You thought the radio updated at 9 a.m.? Nope, it updates at 8. 9 a.m. is the earliest the helicopter can arrive. 8 a.m. is the earliest you can get the updated broadcast for the day. But that's the reason I keep the alarm the way I do. Yeah, because if you had to wait till 9 a.m., you know, you would literally pick up the radio and the helicopter before you see air activity detected, it would probably arrive. That said, with 8 a.m., you only get 1 in-game hour. And that means if the helicopter were to show up at 9, it is kind of, you run out of the building and you get maybe a block away at full run, and it arrives. Which I don't recommend doing. Like, I recommend leaving the area. That I agree with. But seeing air activity detected and, like, literally, like, sprinting away, just take your time. So what we want to do So just before the helicopter arrives, if it's arriving today, I'm guessing it's going to. The plan I have for the helicopter is I'm going to just go south. I'm going to take this road here, and we're just going to go south. Because what I'm going to try to do is if I stay in this area and like run up my field or the house, I'm just going to drag zombies out of Riverside directly on where I want to be operating, which is bad. Whereas if I go and I run south and I get lucky, I'll be drawing the zombies out of Riverside, out to like the farmlands and the woods and all that down south of us. And they'll wander back in and cause us grief later, but it will buy me a bit of time. And the latest the helicopter can arrive is 7 p.m. It could stay after 7 p.m., but its initial arrival, the latest it can be is 7 p.m. Basically what happened is I went to shove a zombie out of the way, as in, like, where you kind of bowl through them running. And I don't know if I hit the key, or, like, you know, if you hit directly on them, it can sometimes be a problem, or, like, what happened. But I failed to shove my way through, got grabbed, and I had like 30 zombies behind me. So it doesn't even matter what injury it did to me, it's the fact that it stunned me, just got me dogpiled, and that was that. Which it was a fun challenge. I could have gone right back to it. I think I'm gonna treat it the same way I do with like when I do a really CDDA challenge. That's a challenge I do once in a while, and then kind of let it sit for a while. Because it's a cool challenge, but I do feel like that specific challenge, the top of the world challenge, I feel is a low replayability challenge. And that's just because it's the same building, with the same furniture layout, and mostly the same esque loot each time. So, unlike a lot of challenges where you spawn the loot and all that can change what you're dealing with wildly, in the particular case of that challenge, it's going to be mostly the same, the similar-ish run to run so far as what resources you get. You never really seen anyone do a CDDA run? Yeah, the CDDA run, the problem with that one is it's very difficulty front-loaded, and then the moment you get past that beginning, it's just a normal run. But it is like maximum difficulty for your first in-game day or two, and then once you've gone past there, like, I don't know what settings they've changed with it. I believe they did an adjustment to the settings. But it used to be basically like Apocalypse with slightly worse loot and slightly higher respawns, if I remember correctly. But with all the adjustments they've done, I don't know where it stands anymore. Because that was one of my big complaints about the really CDDA, is once you do manage to get past the beginning, because the respawns were slightly more aggressive than normal, it made it very unsatisfying to keep playing. Because with the respawns being that aggressive, it didn't really feel like you're making much progress. Take a sip of my water. But yeah, now CDDA also is a challenge that can be very, very RNG if you're not cheesing it. There are cheese strats for the really CDDA challenge. They're not as effective as they were before Build 42, but they still work pretty well. But yeah, no, it's just kind of one of those ones that's very RNG, because sometimes you'll start your run, and like right in the house you'll be there, you'll find like a good weapon, you'll be like, okay, cool, we're just done. Or you'll get lucky and find like some good clothes and that kind of thing. There's a couple of items can be major wins to find in the first house. Because that's a run that the moment you can get yourself some warm clothes and not be immediately dying, that's when you've kind of got things in good shape. Because you'll start warming up, which means you'll get over your cold, and the moment the cold's gone and you're not broadcasting your location by sneezing constantly, it gets to be very easy to break the rest of the problems. But the only thing you know is you start off at a burning house, glass at your foot. Yeah, so the really CDDA challenge, you're at maximum level drunk, you have a cold, you've got a piece of glass lodged in your groin because you fell through your glass shower door, you're soaking wet, it's the middle of winter, your house is on fire, and it's, your quote-unquote the worst day of your life. And yeah, so it is just super stacked. So it's like when you start, you kind of rush to, as quickly as possible, rip out the piece of glass and shove a bandage over it. Like, if you get really lucky, you find, like, a sewing needle and thread. I had that happen in one really CDDA run. I literally found what I needed to stitch my wound close in the initial house. And so ripped out the piece of glass, stitched it closed real fast. And it's like, okay, cool. This is one of the major milestones, and I've already just solved it. Just toss this on, and we'll just get better after that. But, like, the big thing to solve that makes it the hardest to get yourself situated is just your cold. In Product Zomboid, a cold is basically like your character's effectively pulsing out where they're located to the nearby area by sneezing and coughing constantly. But the moment you can get some clothes to get warm enough, then that'll start going away. And the moment you're not coughing and you're not actively broadcasting your position anymore, then you've got plenty of options to just get away from things. Alright. Alright. Let's see, well, for a successful trip to Rosewood, and you adore what they've done to the town, you have a lot more loot, but more importantly, you've got enough cola bottles to fill an entire water dispenser bottle with cola. You're a responsible adult. Oh man, I didn't think about that, because, like, low-key, they did this whole thing where we can, like, mix liquids and all that, and there's a couple, like, kind of fringe neat things you can do with it. But broadly speaking, I actually I've not been super happy with it. Just because there's a lot of times where it's like, I want to fill the, like, it's better now. But when Build 42 first came out, it's like, I want to fill this with water. And then you'd have to sit there and you have to go through, like, the different UI to be like, okay, this container to that container, I want to move it. And it just, added a bunch of clicks to accomplish the same thing I've always done. But yeah, no, I didn't think about, like, getting a bunch of soda and emptying, like, one can or one bottle at a time into, a larger container just for the memes of having the giant, like, water tank of cola. It certainly could be worse. You could have sat there and done all that and just gotten, like, bottles of bourbon or whiskey or whatever, and just filled one of those water dispensers with whiskey. I was trying to time it for when he broke away from that bush. Whiskey and cola on tap. Yep. Of course, the real life problem with that is unless it's got like, you know, CO2 or whatever being injected into like the soda or whatever, you would just end up with like the flattest soda ever, like opening up a bunch of bottles and dumping it into like this big container. It'd also all be room temperature. Okay, so we need to rest. Because they've way overextended for a day that we could potentially have the helicopter. But I'm being stubborn. These are the things that get you killed. It's okay, we'll use our worn-out Band-Aid. Alright, so I was all thinking this is a wheat field, maybe I don't have to worry about slicing myself up on the wheat. I'm wrong. We just scratched ourselves by trying to cut through the crops. Right arm, too. Not what I wanted to see. The reason why I care about the right arm being scratched is everyone in the game is right-handed. Apparently being left-handed makes you vulnerable to the Nox virus. That's not canon, it's just kind of the joke among the community that, you know, clearly since only righties made it, there's something about being left-handed that made you vulnerable to the virus. That's why there's no left-handed people left alive. Because otherwise, assuming an even distribution, you'd still have 1 in 10. I'm trying to just get away from the bodies. As long as we have, like, bad smell and overwhelming stench and all that showing up there, it means I'm just going to get progressively a little bit more sick. The world is against left-hand people. Clearly the virus had it out for the lefties. Yep, the virus just has a prejudice. It was a mad scientist who is just really upset about having to dealing with you know, omnidextrous scissors where you can use it with either one versus like hand-shaped scissors, the ergonomic ones. So it made it their personal vendetta to deal with that. I figure it's only a matter of time before that zombie making all that noise by offensive attracts something. Okay. I'm noticing the number of zombies on this side are thinning out a lot. I think what's happening is, as I start getting closer to the edge up here, it is giving a valid path for the zombies to figure their way around. Because the zombies only do so much so far as their path for calculating pathfinding. So like if you're far enough away from any valid path, the zombie will just stand there and like glare at you. But then if you get like near enough to a door or an opening in a fence or whatever, because that becomes available for it to kind of consider for its path, it'll then sit there and just suddenly start walking that direction. Yeah, the scientists got stuck with the one left-handed desk in their class, and they found it very uncomfortable as deeply upsetting to them. So they decided to enact their revenge against left-handed people over the mild mild inconvenience of having to use a desk that's slightly suboptimal for them. The irony being the thing that left-handed people deal with every single day. I was just wondering, it's like, you know what? I bet you the lead pipe doesn't give us maintenance XP. In that case, I'm gonna still keep it on me as a backup weapon. Let's use the baseball bat instead, because I would like to be getting maintenance XP. Okay. Can I get far enough forward here that I can actually sit down without being in the... Nice. Honestly, we're getting clear enough, I might be able to get to these two vehicles. Okay. Alarm. I was just waiting for it to be another car alarm. Because that's the fourth car we've checked there. And out of the 4 cars we've checked, 2 of them had alarms. Which car alarms are actually very rare in this game. Bit of forced ground hit. I usually don't like to mess around fences because sometimes the zombies can behave in unpredictable ways. Alright. That was a bold swing for me. Okay, I thought I heard the helicopter. Okay. Oh, and the thing I complained about where you lock in place and you turn around, the devs have confirmed that's a bug that is actively being fixed. There was a post about it on their forums. Because that's been like, you know, there's a lot of things that could use some love in Build 42. But that was like the one thing that's like, no, this specific thing is a problem that needs to be addressed. I need this to end because we pushed too far. And we are in a day that is very likely to have a helicopter. Let's back off. Okay. As long as we're out of breath or better, if the helicopter shows up, it's manageable. You found a Santa hat? Yep, we found it yesterday. The house we're staying in had a bunch of Christmas decorations and all that in one of the closets. Alright, so we only got 30 in-game minutes till we pass the window that the helicopter can show up. If the helicopter doesn't show up today, it's pretty much a guarantee it'll show up tomorrow. I mean, it is a guarantee. I'm pretty sure that you can't go after that day. Hold them back. I'll fight them. I just want to pull them back so I'm not just chain aggroing more and more if I can help it. Yeah, that's exactly what I figured, is that we were going to get exerted right away. It's looking like a tomorrow helicopter. Okay. And eventually I'll start having problems food-wise. I'll have to put some effort into actually acquiring food, especially if we start getting to low weight. So far, that's not been an issue. And you've got a ridiculous collection of books that we had at the house. I've just been going through what we are able to read one by one. Yeah, we're in the clear. The helicopter would have had to happen by now. Keeping up weight is surprisingly hard. Yeah, no, in Project Zomboid, there's very few things that are considered, like, actually calorie dense. And even fewer that, like, you can sustainably get. It's mostly, like, trapping, fishing, eggs, butter, stuff like that you can keep sustained. But stuff like animal husbandry for butchering animals and hunting just doesn't work right now meaningfully enough to attempt. There's not many other things that you can really kind of pursue, unfortunately. Okay. Alright. Making solid progress. Gets back off again. We're still at, like, 0 fitness, right? Haven't gained a point in fitness yet? Oh, no, I have a point in fitness. I'm at, like, 1.5 fitness. Alright, now we're down to just 3 or 4 of them. Finish the job. That's bad? Okay. It did not hit the one I wanted it to. That's too much. Back up more. Okay, this needs to be the last one. We are very spent. What I've been overextending way too much. It's gonna get me in trouble. But when we start to get to the point where it's like, okay, we've been in exertion just a little bit, it kind of is one of those things like, all right, we need to properly back off if at all possible. Could you not? Yeah, so we're at high exertion. We were at excessive, which is why that was taking so many hits to get rid of it. We want to drop to at least the next one up. Okay. And even though it'd be like, okay, well, we can walk home now, we're not in too bad a shape, I still want to rest before we walk home. You never know when you're going to start your way home, and some rally group has rolled into the neighborhood that now you have to fight. So you really want to make sure you're as good a shape as you can be. Yeah, I knew that was coming. You spent too much time exerted today. They'll probably do. I keep waking up way too early. It is a problem. I think I'm going to have my character start going to bed at 1 a.m. as opposed to midnight. And that's just because normally I don't take the wakeful trait. I have found the wakeful trait makes sleep management very annoying, even though objectively you get more awake time. It's very hard to get on a reliable schedule. Make sure you wake up when you need to wake up, but not too early and all that garbage. And so yeah, having the consistency is really nice and you can manage it. Where it's like you go to bed at midnight, you wake up at, 7:50, and you just keep doing that cadence. And sure, every once in a while you have like a 7 p.m. helicopter. That means you get to bed late and you gotta like fix up your schedule after that. But, or late meta event or whatever. That's all fine. Did you ever find the gas in the car? No, these playthroughs don't go that fast. Like, if we consider where I'm at now, so we found the car, it's there. We've really only been around this corner. So if you look at how much of the map we've seen, we spawned down here by this. We walked up this and we were just going around this corner. And this is already going way faster than the 16 times pop. We are on still a relatively high pop. We're at just a hair shy of what's considered insane pop. Which is, like, we're at about 8 times pop, if I'm not mistaken. But it does mean we don't just shove our way into town in seconds. But instead of 16 times pop, where you kind of do the meat grinder on the edge of town for, like, literal in-game months until you break in, we're making good progress. Like, each day I'm getting, an extra couple feet up the road. And that'll happen until I start thinning out the numbers in that cell. And, like, the moment it doesn't, have resistance. I think you might find some in the construction site. Maybe. I mean, it didn't used to spawn in construction sites. But you're never really worried about schedule, but you guess you play in harder settings. You're all on the move at the time. So the reason I care about the schedule boils down to just 2 things. One is once I get the emergency channel, I want to be up in time to check the radio. Because having the helicopter hit you when you're unprepared for it at, like, the wrong time can very much be a big danger for the run. Like, where you're on your way back towards your house and all that. And just the helicopter rolls in while you're already half passed out. That'll get you killed. Or you're pushing into a very high-density area and, like, you've gone a little ways in there, and then the helicopter happens, and then it kind of sweeps the net in behind you. That can get you in trouble. And then the second thing is making sure that you don't end up tired too long or whatever. It's also a thing that the nights can get really, really dark. And so you really do kind of want to avoid fighting in the darkness. Now, if you go through and you choose, like, the not as dark night kind of things, that does take it a little bit where you don't have to worry about it nearly as much. If it's just playing brighter at night, you can get away with staying up way later. There you go, you can have yourself another book. Congratulations. Alright, so grab the welding book. Also grab these magazines. And I know you can use the magazines for kindling and all that. That's not a big deal. I'm mostly just trying to get these out of here, so as I'm trying to organize my stuff, Stuff that serves no purpose for me anymore, just get rid of it. I won't even say unfamiliar locations, because again, when you're playing like marathon playthrough type deal, your concern is like the zombie you don't see, that kind of thing. And when it's dark and you can't see very well, and you hear a zombie, but you know the zombie's wearing all black on top of the like near black dark green of the grass at night, it can get really dangerous. Like, you can very easily end a run. I've lost a number of runs because I just, you know, it's like there's a zombie and I cannot see it. And then, you know, the zombie knows where you are. Very much poor visibility will kill you more than anything else once you're surviving long term. So it is a reason you see me usually, like, I will try not to be out after 11 p.m., but even then I'll usually start heading back. Usually it's around like 7 or 8 p.m. Because it does vary on how dark it gets and when it gets dark. It meant unfamiliar and not cleared of most zombies. Oh yeah, that's fair. Even then, you'll go home and you'll be like, this is a place I like. In the Louisville run, where we had like the fencing around it so zombies couldn't come from the south or whatever. And I had like fully gone to every single building, every single closet in the military checkpoint. And there were a good couple times I came back and there's just one zombie chilling in there somewhere in the dark.
Yeah, that one zombie's mean.
Yep, it's always the one zombie you don't see.
That's true. Who's my handsome boy?
I don't know.
Who's my zombie boy?
I hope I'm not a zombie.
I hope not to. Love.
Yeah. There we go. So that's a good time to wake up. Yeah, so I'm trying to aim to wake up after 5 a.m., but before 7:50. Anywhere in that window, good to go. Top off my water bottle. Let me guess, glasses or maggots? Centipede, that's fine. Alright, so we're just doing the once around. We're just checking to make sure no zombies from, like, the river wandered in or anything like that. And we got some of our stuff that was planted when we showed up here is starting to all come to, Okay, random pants. Yep, so not putting a huge effort into the growing stuff, but we're going to clean this up. Alright. Okay. Is this 16 times pop silliness? No, so we're on would be about insane pop right now. Just because we did a poll the other day that it's kind of one of those things I've been playing the 16 times pop and all that stuff, but you don't really get to see much of the map doing that kind of content. They're like, hey, do we wanna knock down the population just a little bit so I can actually get into town and not take 3 months so we can see more places? And so when we did the poll on Discord, it very, very heavily went towards, you know, doing a little bit lower population so we could explore the map more, which makes sense. The map has had a lot of changes, and seeing the same block of town for, you know, 8 or 9 streams in a row, not going to be nearly as satisfying. And it's been good, because it's still giving me enough resistance that, like, I'm not just flying through town and everything like that. We're having to fight, like, you know, a block at a time kind of thing. But at the same time, it's not the meat grinder I usually do, where we spend 2 or 3 months on the edge of town just meat grinding the thing until eventually we finally get through there. I'm planting the seeds having no idea, like, when the appropriate season for them is. One would assume you don't plant them when you harvest them. So they'll probably all just die. But, eh. Pop over here. Then I could keep the worm. I was gonna say, honestly, we can just keep this junk on ourselves. Because I'll probably go through the stuff like the ground beef relatively fast. Alright, and I'm basically assuming we're going to get a helicopter today. Because we're going into day 8. And I believe that'll be like the latest it can arrive. So instead of clearing towards the house, we're going to go down to T intersection and we're going to start going down that way. Those are the things I do want to grab, but I don't have the inventory space. I'm just gonna slam the ground beef, the whole stack. It's almost certainly gonna go stale soon. That's a lot of calories. That'll free up some inventory. So it's carrots, cilantro, and basil. I was actually thinking to myself, I wouldn't think that would be that bad. Like, it'd be like herbed carrots. Cut up in a bowl raw would probably be not the most exciting thing in the world. Grabbing those for later. Okay, so this is an exploration day. Is that we're going to go south at this T over here, because I'm just anticipating the helicopter. It can show up as early as 9 a.m. and as late as 7 p.m. Hopefully it's an earlier day one. That way I'm not spending my whole day just walking back and forth kind of thing. Let's not just sweat picking up all these flint pieces and dragging them back. You don't have the inventory space. Oh, duffel bag. I was not expecting this much of a response. Did we die in our last run? If you mean the tower, yes. If you mean the 16 times pop from, like, earlier in the week, no, that run's still alive. This is the same run we were playing all of yesterday. Or, sorry, yesterday once we got off the, like, stopped doing the tower thing. This is the same run from yesterday. Hey, Bassett, how's it going? I thought it was closer to 8 times pop, whatever the pop was. The not ridiculously high pop. Just high pop. Whatever the number was, it was between very high and insane pop. A little bit closer to insane than very high. Because remember, we did that comparison when I was starting, like we looked at what the stats were and all that. Yep, not 16 times pop. That's the big one. Gotcha. 2 and 3? Yep. Cool. So 6 times pop. And one of you down here had the duffel bag, which will be a very nice and welcome upgrade. That's right there. Okay. Had chili to play with melted cheese? Nice. I do enjoy both chili as well as chili with melty cheese on it. Alright, so we got that sorted out. Tortilla chips too? Nice, nice. Oh yeah, I remember this road. I'm sure it's different now. But there was, like, a little spot in Riverside where you have a road that kind of comes over here, and there's, like, a little area of the Riverside that pokes out the bottom. There's no road on the other side. I am not planning to walk around here and fight all this, by the way. I remember making the mistake of trying to drive through this area before. Hey, the Ints, thank you so much for the raid. I hope you had yourself a good stream and all that. I am currently in trying to be careful watching what we're doing. Playing some Baldur's Gate 3, so I do hope you had fun with that and everything went well. For those who don't know, the Ints, another fantastic content creator, does like Baldur's Gate 3, has done a lot of stuff like, Coral Island and all that as well, so your slice of life, farm simulation kind of games as well. So if you like any of that stuff, you can definitely find it over there. Just as a heads up, does stream in German. Understands if you talk in English and all that kind of stuff, but does stream in German, just as a heads up. But right now we're just kind of taking a tour on the south side of Riverside. We're expecting a helicopter today. We don't have confirmation yet, but I believe today is the last day when the helicopter can show up, and we haven't had it yet, so, do the math. So we're just doing a little walk along the south side of Riverside here, because I want to take the helicopter on the south side of Riverside to hopefully pull as many zombies away from town. I was kind of hoping there'd be a field or something down here to work with. Unfortunately, it's not looking like that is the case. Because if we had that, then I could have pulled the zombies down. And just pull them out of town kind of thing. And it wouldn't, like, clear the whole town or anything quite, like, that dramatic. But it would have made... I could have fought way less zombies to actually need to get into the town. The top of the tower run, we died. That's what I was worried about. Because whatever's on that road, they're drawing a lot of zombies. So I don't want to cut down that road. Hey, Panzer, how's it going? Yeah, Carhard? Yeah, no, that was a house alarm, but yeah. That was the reason why you saw me try and duck out of the busier parts of, Riverside. Like, downtown will be the worst. But I wanted to cut down this way just because that house alarm is going to draw zombies from a pretty long range away. Alright, the Inch, you have a good lurk. Thank you again for the raid. Looks like there's a park back here of some kind. Well, this is new. There used to not be a river here. Okay, that's the trailer park part of town, so we're on the west side of Riverside. So I'd like to turn north up here. There's another duffel bag over there. I was also low-key kind of hoping to get lucky and find, like, a tent or anything like that. Or a zombie with a hiking bag or whatever. Because it's always been a thing you've been able to do is just find, like, random, like, usually along the side of the road, like, a random campground. Or find, like, the survivor zombies, or usually find them in big groups by the roads and whatnot. Gonna try and creep up in here. Probably aggro as soon as we get back here. I'll bite. Got rakes, got seeds for sugar beets. Got a grill. Got a mason's chisel, got some saws. Sadly, my inventory is like super full, so I can't really grab a bunch of stuff even if I wanted to. I probably don't want to go through trying to loot these houses with a full inventory right now. I saw that window open. I saw it. Zombie right here. So radio up there. $105. Okay. Thank you, Nate, for the 115 stream streak. I do appreciate that. We're just chilling here for a second. What I'll do in the meantime is, in case we get separated, add 105 megahertz emergency frequency. There's lots of good stuff. All right. Finish your breakfast. That's good grub. Satisfied? Nice. So we've got perfectly reasonable temperatures today. A bit breezy, not too bad. We are expecting light to moderate rain tonight. Again, reasonable temperatures and all that tomorrow. A bit more breezy tomorrow. Moderate light and moderate rain in the morning. No helicopter. Interesting. Okay. There's a sewing kit and all that. I'm just taking a quick peek to see if there's anything that obviously I want. It's a little dicey because we definitely have not cleared the area out. We could very easily have something flanking. Do I already have a whistle? I do. All right. Man, get some books. There's a bunch of wine bottles and all that. Yep, no books or anything like that. Okay. Well, this creates an interesting issue. I walked over here pretty much completely expecting that we would be dealing with a helicopter today, and that's just not what's going on. Is there a window on this? No. Alright, well, in that case, let's do a little wander. See what we got going on over here. That wouldn't be an unreasonable house. I mean, them having multiple computers is a little much. Computers in this time frame for your home, it's not like it would be impossible. A lot of houses did have a singular computer, but they were not inexpensive. In the early 90s, especially in like a rural area, like suburbs or whatever, that's big money. That was big, they probably could afford too. Yeah, no, that's... Oh, wait. That's interesting information. We found a key for that car. I don't know which of the houses the alarm is. Oh, I think it's more than one. You've got an alarm over here and down here. That's what I figured was going to be the case. The zombies are too dense for me to get the car out of here. At least not without trashing the car. That's fine. That still means I know where to find a usable car. The bigger issue now is all the zombies have been pissed off everywhere and moved around. Which is going to make it a lot harder to go anywhere safely. So get a little dirt path back here. I'm going to take it around. Alright, so we got a little camping fire pit back here. Yeah, Riverside has changed so much. Oh, we got a little park bench back here. That'd be an interesting thing to have to deal with. Like, you're struggling to take over the town, and you're just going to the park bench and going to sleep each night. Trying to make that work. Hey, Avic, thank you so much for the raid. I hope you had yourself a good stream. Can we get a shout out for Avic? I do appreciate it. But what were you up to today? How did it go? All that good stuff. Playing some Vintage Story. Nice. That was a very long in-game hang, which is deeply concerning. But yeah, no, Vintage Story is always a good time. I hope you had fun with that and things progressed smoothly. Oh, right. My duffel bag is like pitch black, so I can't see it. That's right. BZ treating you well? It's treating us fine. We've had a couple of house alarms and all that going off. I was pretty much expecting the helicopter today, but we didn't have the radio broadcast till we got out here. Only to now confirm that it's definitely not today. And we'd already wandered pretty far from home, so I'm just kind of doing a little exploring before we work our way back home. Let's see if we can get into this garage without aggroing a bajillion things. Hey, Galactic, we have a puppy farm. I've seen things. Oh, depending on what game we're talking about, that can get grim. Well, that's cool. It's like a bar for your garage. Yeah, and I can mark my map. That's not a bad idea. Okay. So we want to put right here. Lincoln with keys, low gas. Okay, that's looking like it's dense up there. Alright, so we're basically just kind of wandering. It's a little dangerous because I'm having to go, like, this is all, it's Riverside, which isn't inherently high pop, but we are playing in fairly high pop settings. And so I'm kind of exploring because Riverside got a rework. We're not able to get into the town proper, really. Now, without being completely and utterly suicidal. So what I am doing, though... Okay, so the population definitely is going up this way. So trying to go through a higher pop area in the middle of the woods sounds like a death sentence. Alright. Yeah, so we're kind of wandering to get a lay of the land. See if we can't find anything like a nice backpack. I'm trying to get a good feel for, like, where Riverside is these days. As far as, like, you know, the borders and all that. It's definitely been adjusted a lot. Okay, so we've got a soccer field from the looks of it. Yeah, soccer field over there. And the road on the left. I'm guessing this is the road that goes north-south by where the bait shop used to be. And the salvage yard. Come on. Why does every car have a car alarm? Yeah, so bags have a couple of stats you care about. The two main stats you care about on bags is if we pause here since I got zombies moving around everywhere so I can actually point stuff out. So I've got my duffel bag here. If we mouse over our duffel bag, you'll see there's a bunch of different stats there. The two stats you care about is capacity and encumbrance reduction. Encumbrance reduction is simply how much it reduces the weight of whatever you put in it. So in this case, this reduces the weight of what I put in it by 65%. It has a capacity of 23. Once it's full, it's full. You can't put more stuff in it without taking stuff out. So basically, it's how big the bag is and how much it helps you carry things that you put in it. What do you have? Oh, nothing. Alright. Is it 23 items or 23 weight? It's 23 encumbrance. So the number isn't specifically weight, it's just kind of broadly how hard it is to carry, which is just like a loose combination of weight and awkwardness and all that. So like, if you're putting something in that's large but not necessarily heavy, it would have a high encumbrance. You have server space locally to run Product Zomboid server. Would it be a benefit over just running single player? No. Generally speaking, you only want to run a server if you are planning on playing multiplayer. There are some things you've been able to do with, like, Twitch integration mods and that sometimes require a server instead of a solo instance. But, you generally don't want to do that. Like, I mean, the Twitch integration's fine, but you don't want to start it up as a server unless you're planning on using it as a server. Nah, there's way more here than I thought there was going to be. I was hoping because that car alarm was right there, I had seen a number of the zombies left the salvage yard. I was kind of hoping it would have drawn a bunch of the zombies out of the salvage yard so I could poke in and look at those cars. But it's still busy. Yeah, so we're on the west side of Riverside. Oh, this church is way better than it used to be. This church used to look like slightly better than just a normal house. And it did have the graveyard around it, but it was a pretty unimpressed thing. But it does look like they have, you know, cleaned this up quite a bit. I wonder if you can... So you can make graves and bury them. And one of the graves that are marked there are actual graves you can, like... Gotta be quick. Alright, 1 second. And the reason it's 1 second is I'm gonna go right here. I'm gonna say symbols, lightning bolt. We found ourselves a generator. Not gonna bother trying to drag that around anytime soon. Why am I overburdened now? What did I take? Oh, I did take the book, so we need to do something about that. I'm just gonna eat this potato raw. Man, these houses used to be nothing. They were like these like one-room things that were like really, really awful. And now they look legit. Yeah, so this should be the far west side of town. Yeah, these are way nicer. Like these houses here on the end used to be absolute dump of houses. They were like way far from the worst houses in the game, but they were pretty dumpy. Like, I want to say the house that was in this position, it didn't have, like, a garage or anything. It was just kind of this, like, one room here. It had, like, a little wood, you know, wood back room there. And kind of like the saddest kitchen you've ever seen. Whereas this place is, like, you know, a legitimately kind of nice house. So I really shouldn't be going this way, because I am kind of walking directly into town. So the density should just kind of keep increasing. What I'm going to probably do is we'll go like the 1 block east to the bait shop where it used to be, or might still be. And I'm just going to kind of take a quick peek and just quickly see like how much that area's changed. Most likely from there we'll want to cut south. Because once we get towards the center of town, things are going to get real nasty real fast. But no, this is way different. Like, this house over here used to be a fairly crappy house. I want to say the house that was over there was a totally different style. That was the one that I think had a piano and a piano stool in it. So, like, for people who are doing, like, meta cheese kind of strats. they would race over there, steal the piano stool, because it used to be a meta, was grab a fanny pack, shove a piano stool in it because it fit, because video game. Is this the bait shop now? Alright. That's entirely different. It used to just be a wood finished building. The burger shop actually used to be down on this part of the road. Now it's actually got like a proper dock here. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to mess with that. But that's cool. Oh, Rebecca the piano stool? Yeah. Got these cool little greenhouses here. Alright, so unfortunately we basically wasted our day over here. Because I went on the assumption that we were going to have the helicopter. I appreciate this radio already has the emergency channel on it. Yep, so we're just getting back out of town now. Wait, gas station's over here? Interesting. This isn't where the gas station used to be. Yeah, the gas station used to be over here on this road. I'm getting kind of bullied around. I wanted to go down that road, but with the car alarm there, it's a bit too thick with zombies for me to just cut across like I'd intended to. We're taking a little bit of a detour. I do like that so many of these houses now have their own like little gardens in the back and all that. It makes me wonder how long you could survive just going from like house to house pulling up their crops. It's probably until the crops start rotting. Yeah, no, there's a lot of this area that's the same. Yeah, so if we look at this map, like compare some differences. So it used to be the bar was here. There was the convenience store. It was the bar was here, you had the convenience store, and then there was the laundromat were kind of vertically facing. The gas station I want to say was it over here or over there? Which now it's over here across from the salvage yard. So it's definitely like been rearranged. The pieces are all still there, but they kind of been shuffled around a little bit. The soccer field didn't exist. Like there was no anything down here. Yeah, it definitely feels like the big trees. I like them, but when you're able to look behind them, they need to be able to look behind them from farther away. I'm gonna try and work my way back over to where we've been staying. I may have overextended here. That we might have to be backtracking in the dark, which I don't love. That's fine. Okay, this will be spicy. We are cutting into woods that aren't going to be quiet. But I'm kind of counting on that house alarm we had over here taking most of the heat off of me. Yep, there's the burnt house. Yeah, because that was the one we saw that had the bar in it. Yeah, so we should be starting to clear out from zombies, not counting what's behind me here. Because like I said, we had the house alarms up here. That would have pulled most of the zombies away. Now, it does mean I've stirred up the pot something fierce. It's a little bit of a bummer that we went by that campground, and then there was no camping anything there. I shouldn't say campground. We went by the fire pit out in the woods, and there wasn't anyone, like, with a hiking bag or anything. The downside is we did walk through here with zombies chasing us, and we are backtracking over a place that I did drag zombies. Which is something you usually want to avoid, but it's straight up just woods south of us, so I'd rather take the path that I can actually see a little bit. And unfortunately, I very much doubt the zombies have cleared out enough for me to get this car out of here. Not that it would matter anyways, it's very low on gas. It's got maybe enough gas to make it to the gas station and a little bit farther, but not enough I could drive it home and then bring it back out for gas later. Oh, did I leave that running? Yep. Well, so don't worry about it having gas. That probably won't be true any longer. Because I'm not going over there to retrieve that key right now. Usually when you hop out of the car, you'll take the keys with you if you're on default settings. Yeah, so we do not cross that bridge. Like, I can probably make that work, but that's going to be a lot of finagling. That's a little bit risky. And it's just as easy to go, what if instead we exit stage left? Because there had been a ton of zombies here, but fortunately because we had the house alarm up this way, and there's the river blocking, it means they would get drawn away and there'd be no zombies to pop in here to replace them in a timely manner. Whereas this side, it'd likely have a bunch of zombies all bunched up on that coast. Yeah, so we took a tour around the border of Riverside. Yeah, so we think about Riverside, so it's still got relatively the same shape. Yeah, so we're down here. So yeah, this river's new. This river used to not be here. And that's actually not that far. So I think what we'll try and do is with the helicopter, I'm going to aim to be down here. Between Cushion Lane, Olin, and Allen. Down in that area. And I'll try and draw the zombies down there. And just make that work. The only downside of that spot is it is just a road. It's not like a big field or anything like that. It would be, like, another choice could be going for that soccer field. I'm not too confident we'll be able to get over to the soccer field before, you know, everything kicks off. I'm also curious with this like hiking path and all that. Also check out Bassett. Been doing like factory automation stuff. Also does like turn-based RPGs, that kind of stuff. So Little Rocket Lab, Alchemy Factory, that kind of thing. There's a dead zombie down there. There's another radio. That's fine. So yes, I'm curious. If we walk down this path a little ways, which I probably shouldn't be doing at this time of day. Well, I hope it was a productive day. And that, like, you're not feeling too bad. I'm low-key hoping we'll just find a tent or something here. Or a log cabin or whatever. Because this would, like I said, this would be a great spot because we're aiming to bring them here. And right now I'm there. So if I could find a place just to camp out for the night, that'd be great. And if not, that's fine too. You get a log bench. I can technically sleep on the log bench. That doesn't sound like a good idea, though. I shouldn't be doing that right now. It's not like time is of the essence or anything, but gonna get dark soon. The darker it gets, the more dodgy all of this is gonna get. Come on, have something on here. Don't just be a dirt trail. Okay. It does have tents that I do want. It also has other things that I don't want. Alright, how do I want to go about this? First, chuck these seeds on the ground, chuck you on the ground, slam a potato real fast. I do want those tents really badly. Chuck the scrap on the ground, chuck the flint on the ground. Chuck the lemongrass in the ground. I completely forgot I had these hot dogs on me. Put the claw hammer in the backpack to lighten the weight up even more. That'll probably be workable. Oh, there's a tent right down there. Hey, don't aggro me. Be cool, be cool, be cool. What? Why can't I... Pick up tent. Pick up tent. Pick up tent. Why can I not tent? Why can tent not? Because it says I could pick it up. It just won't let me. As well as ones where you have to be like in this specific angle of the tent to make it work. Well, that sucks. No, you can carry more than that. You can go way, way, way over. You just get slowed down and there's consequences. So the idea is I'd grab the tent, I'd bugger off, package it up, put it in my backpack. It's a whole thing. It's not gonna work. Because not enough of them are aggroing away. That sucks that I couldn't pick up the tent though, because there's a tent right here, like sweet. I just pick it up. Would the whistle be better? I'm a little worried about the whistle carrying too far and grabbing the neighborhood up to the north. So let's go... Just mark for in the future. Yeah, the whole area is covered. Oh, you know what? Oh, wait. We got more tents down here. Alright. Alright, Masetta, you have a good one. Because it's all I need to do is snag a tent, then we pack it up, and if I gotta leave some stuff behind, that's okay. I really like having tents in this game. Tent means no matter where my situation goes wrong, I can always plunk the tent down and go to sleep. Why? Why can I not pick up the tents? Tents have been functional in this game forever. They changed the style of tent, and now it doesn't seem to work anymore. Like, they all have this, like, weird T here, but I can't choose to do anything with it. Let's try looking at this. Pack and unpack tent. But I can't seem to actually pick up the tent. Still no RimWorld? So... I do mention, like, every stream that, like, it would be bouncing between it. And I know people enjoy RimWorld. But, you know, it's not... It kind of sucks when people are, like, bringing up, it's like, you're not playing the other game. You're not playing the other game. You're not playing the other game. I get it, you want RimWorld. That's totally fair and fine. obviously there's been a big update. I even talked about potentially doing RimWorld tomorrow, but very genuinely, when I have people do that, where they're like, play this game, play this game, play this game. I know I'm overstating it a little bit. It makes me genuinely just not want to play it. Because it kind of tells me that that person's only going to be around if I play that one game. So that's a viewer I'm not going to keep because I'm not going to play just one game. So I know I'm being a little frustrated about it, but it has been like every single day for like the last 3 or 4 days that it's just kind of one of those things that each day is like, you're not playing RimWorld. I mean, and previously you're just like, do you know when you're going to play again? Which is, that's fine. But it's the still no RimWorld that it's like, that's kind of crossing into where it's no longer being polite about it. Oh, we'll probably pop into Stardew when they do that big update where there's new romanceables and everything. Like, literally, to be fair, low-key, I had talked about that probably tomorrow was going to be a not Project Zomboid day, and that RimWorld would be likely one of the things to consider. That's genuinely made me go, you know what? Maybe we'll do the Water Park Simulator update. Because that's the other one I've been thinking. And it is genuinely a thing that when people do that kind of thing, it just makes me want to be like, you know what? I still want to do the thing. I don't want people to feel like they got what they wanted because they whined about it. Anyways, I do apologize for being a bit hostile about it. It's just kind of, it's rude is what it is. Yeah, no, it's fair, Lux, right? Like, it only got one comment. It's only one comment, so like they haven't escalated more today or whatever. It's just that it's been around this time each day that they popped in. And yeah, like if tomorrow it's like, why not RimWorld? Then yeah. I'd probably time it out. Because there's a difference between when are you playing RimWorld again. What am I seeing on the minimap here? Oh, well, that's not nearly as exciting as I was hoping for. I was all hoping for, Oh no, that's fine. No, that's like, we don't need to bop anyone for that. No, it's totally fine for people like, what about Stardew Valley? People are just having a banter. Do you consider those of us? Oh no, that's the thing. A lot of people in the channel love RimWorld. There's nothing wrong with that. That's kind of the thing. We got tons of people who hang out. They love RimWorld. They love to see it, but they also love to see our things. And there's viewers who RimWorld's just what they want to see. And if I'm not playing it, they're not going to stick around. That's fine. That's fair. That's valid. That's just how things work. But it's kind of one of those things that, you know, the joke of, you don't need to announce your departures. This is not an airport. Because that's what we ran into the other day, as we had, and sadly it was someone who had been with the community for a good long while, but we did have someone who I went to switch to multiplayer. Won't say the name, it's not about the name. You know, we went to switch to multiplayer, and they're like, oh, I don't enjoy multiplayer, I'm leaving. It's like, okay, and at least to me, it felt like I was gentle about being like, hey, you know, it's kind of rude to do that. Alright, so we want to cut north. You know, it's kind of like rude to do that, to be like, oh, I don't like what you're doing, so I'm going to leave. And it's like, I mean, that's fair to feel that way and want to do that. Like, that's, if I'm not providing the content you want, sure. Like, you know, go get the content you want. It was the whole, like, big announcement. That's considered bad Twitch etiquette / rude. All right, Nitro, you take it easy. You get that sleep and all that. It's just like when the wife tells you to bring the trash out 1 second before you have done it, would have done it anyways. I just feel like not doing it's like, I mean, I don't have that problem. Like that kind of thing isn't a problem. But yeah, no, that was the thing that happened, was like what happened after that is, you know, I kind of pushed back being like, "Hey man, just so you know, like that's rude." Like, you know, there's a bunch of other people who's enjoying what's going on, and being like, you know, you're doing the wrong thing, I'm leaving, is kind of very selfish. Because for a lot of people, they wanted to see the multiplayer stuff. And so it's just kind of one of those things that you're like, hey man, like don't, like, by all means, if I'm not providing the content you want, you know, go ahead and step out. That's fine. Build 42 made it so you couldn't read maps or read books or magazines when it's too dark. You seem to have a less nagging wife. No, Tomb doesn't nag, because it's one of those things, like, if you're treating it like a partnership, if the dishes don't get done, like, it's not just this guy who's the reason the dishes didn't get done. There's two independent individuals not getting the dishes done. So, it's one thing to be like, hey, I'm in the middle of something, is there a chance you could do the dishes? You know, like, hey, you know, or like, I got the laundry, could you do dishes? Like, that's like a division of labor or whatever, that's fine. But, like, if someone gets mad at you being like, you didn't do the dishes, it's been like a week, they're piling up, it's like, okay, did you do the dishes? So we don't have those kind of like problems between the two of us. Like, don't get me wrong, there's definitely times, like, because ADHD things, I'll leave things out. Not super often. I've actually been really good. It is, it's a, not a trope, a, stereotype for people with ADHD to, like, grab a drink and put it someplace and forget it's there and have a bunch of disgusting cups collecting around the house till they go through and clean it up, just because they forget about it. And it's not that I've never left a cup behind, not a cup, but, like, a bottle behind or a can behind. But I'm usually really good about it. It's mostly a habitual thing, is I make it a habit of putting them in kind of the same place. That way, you know, when I'm going places, I'll check those spots so it doesn't get left. About the only time it happens is, like, if I'm in the middle of something and I kind of have to, like, pivot to something else, like, it creates, like, an unusual pattern that I could set my drink or whatever in a unusual spot and then forget about it. I feel like half your life is spent searching for objects you picked up, placed somewhere else, and then forgot about. Yeah, no, and that's kind of the way. So, like, I'm, you know, I'm later on in life, but I used to have the problem a lot when I was younger, and I kind of learned to figure out, like, what kind of places I would put stuff, and kind of make it a deliberate decision to put the things in the same places. So, like, there's the corner and the counter in the kitchen downstairs. So I almost always will put stuff on that corner. So it's just a conscious thing to check the corner. It's when I'm doing something like, oh, hey, like, I need to get some of these books on the shelf, can you give me a hand? And I put the soda, like, on the bookshelf to grab the books, which is not a place I would normally put it. And then you forget about it. And it can just sit there. The one that gets me from time to time is when I'm doing something in the garage, like I'm having to pressure wash the driveway, or I'm carrying in groceries, or whatever it is, and I'll put a soda on my workbench. And because I don't just go out randomly into my garage to check on these things, it'll just sit there in the heat. And then after it's been, you know, percolating in the Florida heat for a day, it's like, well, not drinking that anymore. That, it's probably safe, but, you know, maybe maybe not do that little dance. Got any cool new locations? Yeah, we just did a walk around the outer perimeter of the of Riverside. We did find a like whole campground. Unfortunately, it seems like they got fancier tents, and those are cool, but I can't seem to pick them up or do anything with them. They don't say they require tools or anything. But there are designed, like, it gives you the label, oh, you can pick this up, it's 10 encumbrance, but I couldn't actually get it to let me pick it up, so I didn't get to take any of the tents, which is a little bit of a bummer. But there was some cool campgrounds and all that. We found some trails, and we went around Riverside. They actually, like, rearranged a bunch of the buildings, so they still have, like, the one bar, the laundromat, the like, general store, whatever, and the gas station, but like the gas station's not on the right now, it's on the left, like bottom, like it's below the salvage yard. And then like instead of you have the bar, and then like right above it's, you know, behind a fence is the laundromat, and then that it's like there's the bar, and it's kind of the other two are cattywampus to each other. So it's the same pieces are there, but like really done up nicer and kind of shuffled around a little bit. All right, so bear with me, chat. I need to quickly use the restroom, so I'm going to do that, and I'll be back in just a minute. And thank you again for tuning in, and I'll be back in just a couple minutes. Okay. Gotcha. So it is a thing. Yeah, no, that was disappointing because I was all excited about, because for those who haven't seen me do like my really big runs, one of the things I will usually do is I will try and get a sleeping bag or a tent as early as I can and chuck it in my bag, even though that's a lot of weight you're committing to it. Because then, like, you know, say I'm in this area, the helicopter happens, and I come back and, oh crap, the zombies have completely overrun it. I'm exerted, I'm a little sleepy, there's no way I can push into this reasonably. You know, I'm bullied out of the area. And that happens a lot on higher pops. So you're like off on the road going, what the hell do I do? And you can either keep walking until you hit to ridiculously tired and desperately try and fight with like bouncing between getting tired and all that. It's really easy for that to lead to an eventual wind down death. But if you have a tent, you just go down the road, you plunk the tent down, you go to sleep, you pick the tent up, and you go right back in. So I will usually always keep a tent on my person once I can get my hands on one. Alright. So drink this. Water bottle's already full. Okay, so let's check our food. Go ahead and cook these acorns real fast. And the potatoes. I've got the mechanics book and the welding book. Even though I started the welding book, let's put away the welding book. The mechanics I'd rather have more. All right. So again, we're assuming that today we're going to have the helicopter. The good news is this time, once it hits 8 a.m., I can tune in to verify it. So it won't be like last time where we're wandering around the whole day only to discover, you know, it's not even coming. Yeah, because we're at 8 going into 9 days, and the helicopter hasn't happened yet. We have to be at the end of the window. And we are on helicopter sometimes. In Project Zomboid settings, by default, you get one helicopter ever, and that's it. Unlike Apocalypse. I know Extinction, they made it multiple helicopters. From there, you can go up to the next tier higher, which is sometimes. And sometimes means you'll get one helicopter roughly every, like, 14 to 18 days or somewhere in that ballpark. And then you can go ahead and turn it up a little bit before to get it to often. But often's like 12 to 14 days in between. So it's only a couple days difference. Didn't happen early on a couple streams ago. A couple streams ago was a different run. This isn't our 16 times pop run. The 16 times pop run is still alive, but we did a vote, I believe it was 2 days ago? Oh no, we had a vote yesterday after the Top of the World run died. But we had a vote on the channel, and people really went more for they wanted to see me do a... When I say lower, it's still a high pop run. We're between very high and insane pop. So 6 times pop. But we're not doing our normal 16 times pop stuff. That way we can actually get around to see some of the towns. Because with 16 times pop, it's genuinely like in-game 2 or 3 months to go from the outskirts of town to being able to actually get in the town. Like at all. And so we dropped it down to like 6 times pop. And we've been able to already see way more than we would have seen on the other run. But yeah, like I said, we're on sometimes. So roughly every 2 in-game weeks we'll have a helicopter. What that means in practice is when I was playing, like back in Build 41, when it was 1 hour days, it means every stream usually I'd have 1 or 2 helicopters. Either one I'd have a helicopter right at the beginning of stream and maybe right at the end, or somewhere in the middle. All depending on the exact days or whatever. Now the days are an hour and a half. I think it'll actually be like every other stream will have a helicopter for a playthrough. Just because the days being longer means less days happen in the same amount of time. Alright, so let's get our radio out. Also, before I forget, that almost got me in big trouble. Because I have noticed those little maps you pull up don't automatically pause the game. So we did pull up a map, so we do have this revealed now. That we could see the entirety of Riverside. That was way closer than it needed to be. Do you plan to go sightseeing once you have a car, or stay in Riverside? The way we were planning to approach this, and thank you Zalsol for the 275 stream streak, and thank you Galactic Red Dragon for the 110 stream streak, and thank you Nate GRS for the 115 stream streak. But the way I was planning to approach it is we would work on getting into Riverside to check it out, and then when we find ourselves an annotated map, that now becomes our priority. Not because annotated maps are worth doing or anything like that, but to give us a direction of here's the new place to check out. Okay, we gotta... Hold on, zombies. Hang on. I got a thing. I can't go throughout my day. I can't go through my day without knowing the weather. You gotta understand, man. I need my weather forecast. They've got rain that will go away at the end of the morning. Helicopter it is. So like I said, the plan for the helicopter is we're going to work our way over here to the left, to where we have that road that goes just south of Riverside. And that's where we want to take the helicopter. We'll go down there and we're going to start fighting the zombies in that general area with the expectation of things eventually escalating there. Yeah, so we look at where we're at now. I'm looking at getting down to Allen Road. So if this road cuts into the woods, let's go down here. We're going to go just south of Riverside, and the intention of why I'm doing this is the helicopter effectively just brings the zombies in the direction you are. So in this particular case, you can use the zombies, that's the reason why I generally tell people it's like, hey, don't just take the helicopter at home. Because even if the zombies don't find their way in, you've now just made the area around your house full of zombies. And that's not particularly great. But instead, either go to where you want zombies, or go near somewhere you want to get zombies away from. It can be used as a tool just as much as anything. So because we know the helicopter's coming today, we can go down here, and like I said, we can get nearish to town, and we'll just start killing zombies just to continue to work on things. Okay. Yeah, so go to this T intersection down here, and that's where I'd like to take the first helicopter. And what that should do is if we pull up our map, if I'm doing the helicopter down here, that should be able to pull zombies from this general area of Riverside and draw them down to this area. It'll also pull the zombies that are in that campground to the south and pull some of them up. Granted, most of them will probably just get stuck on the river. But ultimately, the part I care about is that we're drawing zombies out of town, versus if I were to go to the east, I would pull the zombies from town over top of my house. But because there's a river on the north side of Riverside, there's nowhere for the zombies to come from up north there, so any zombies we draw from Riverside down this way effectively will be coming out of Riverside and just not be there anymore. I know at some point I need to start picking up all those. Right now, as long as I've got a bunch of weapons, I'm going to choose to ignore that, which is not the best strategy, but with my limited carry weight, we're doing what we can with what we have. Okay. Okay, so the big thing we need to remember is we are getting a helicopter today. So we do want to make sure we don't push our exertion any more than we have to. Because if the helicopter arrives and we're really exerted, things get... Ooh. Hi, friend. You startled me. Oh, work boots. We can upgrade our shoe situation. Okay. Alright, we already read the electrical book, so we should be able to level electrical relatively quickly. Just whiff that one, why don't I? Okay. Just doing a little bit of this here and there as we kill time. Okay, so we're just trying to sit here. Keep our stuff in good order. A little sippy sip of water. Get salad made real fast, just in the event everything kicks off and I gotta eat a snack in the middle of it. Close your mind, haven't missed any? Yeah. No, it's one of those things, like, I used to be able to keep a couple of, like, really, really high stream streaks, but just over time, making sure I'm taking time for, like, family and other stuff. You know, there's just days that me and Toom go out and do stuff before stream time. And you can catch, like, the clips or whatever after stream. But, I don't put a huge focus on it myself. Like, I had a stream streak of, it was almost like 300 or something with, I believe it was FG. Whatever it was a lot. And eventually it just broke on me. Like, I don't think I missed anything, I think it bugged. But it wasn't something I worried about. And thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Talking about broken streaks? Yep. Yours was over like 700? Yeah, it was. Just one of those things not to count on is the stream streaks. And every one of these zombies I kill, even though they're not immediately near my house or whatever, is a zombie that won't be a problem in the future. Oh, come on. Stop. That to me is something they've got to change. Because you see, I started the swing, and while I was swinging, it switched targets over to the zombie there, the one that was getting up. And so because of that, we did get grabbed. The good news is I think they just damaged my shoe. At least that's some good news. Okay, our pants have holes in them. Okay, so actually, I mean, that's kind of impressive that the pants protected us. Because we're just wearing regular pants. They don't really have a meaning amount of protection. Let's see, do you have to share your streak in order to get the 450 bonus points? No. I don't believe you do. I usually don't think much about the points in the first place. Like, they're fun. But it's not something I also, like, go out of my way to worry about. Like, if I have points, cool. If I don't, that's fine too. I do know that people like to do stuff with lots of the points and all that. Okay. So weirdly, the thing I kind of want here is I do kind of want us to have a helicopter that lasts a long time. It'll make it a lot harder for me to stay alive today, but it will make it a lot easier for me to get into town later. So normally what'll end up happening is Early game, I will have like a long-term base that I set up wherever I end up setting up. But once I get to the point where we start clearing towns, like I'll return to that base less and less. Because, you know, the zombies, to clear them, will get farther and farther away from that point because I'll be clearing all the zombies around. So it's kind of like having a main base and a bunch of forward base type deals. So it used to be zombie respawns were on by default. That's changed. They've turned them off by default on a lot of the game settings. But it matters what your game settings are. If your game settings are set with respawns on, then they will respawn. There's a bunch of rules around where they can and cannot respawn and all that kind of stuff. Generally, they will respawn... They won't respawn if you've been in the area recently. They won't respawn if they're in an enclosed area that is not exposed to the edge of the map. Zombies don't walk in from the edge of the map or anything like that. But if I wall off something, like I take a city block and I fully wall it off, no zombies will spawn inside that area. Even with respawns turned on. I'm playing with respawns off. You're going to find the vast majority of people, unless they're playing multiplayer, will have respawns off. Generally, I actually recommend people turn off respawns unless they're specifically doing something with particularly low pop. Is that walling off thing blocking respawns new? No, it's been in the game for a while. Okay, so let's go and put a mark right here. First, helicopter 7/18. Just trying to sit for as long as I can before things kick off so I can recover as much endurance as I can. Okay. Like I said, we want to take this over here. And are using this to draw the zombies from Riverside south. Because we've been clearing and breaking our way into Riverside from the east. And so we want to make sure we're not drawing them over there. And so it should draw them to center Riverside, but south. So just want to get this T intersection over here. And then we're just going to go ahead and zombie powerball them, death murder ball, whatever you want to call it, around this T intersection as best we can. And then when the helicopter goes away, we nope out stage left, but actually east. And then that means the next day when it comes to starting to like clear into town, we should have most of the zombies just not in the area anymore. So I don't want the zombies to miss me. I do want to intentionally grab them and bring them here. This is pass number 2. It's a little dodgy because they do have zombies coming from all directions. Primarily they're coming from the north. But normally you want to be like, one side of you has no zombies coming from it. But we are taking a little bit of a spicier time here. Oh, this is nowhere near as bad. We're on half my normal population settings. And we're in one of the not as crazy cities. I'm really surprised we're seeing this many coming from the east. That is something I was not expecting to see. I don't think there's really anything over there. Granted, that could be very well outdated information. Hi, pretty wifey.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Alright, well, we're not turning back west like I had planned to. The zombies did not stay bunched up because I'm getting too far away. Which means maneuvering back that way is probably utter death. Ooh. These trees are gonna get me killed. The new big trees, where you collide into them. I haven't gotten got by them yet, but you saw there where I bumped into the tree and I shifted sideways. All it takes is the bumping into it wrong, and then it's done. I'm gonna get killed by one of them sooner or later, and I'll have to come up with how my strategy is for not having that. So I believe we're at 2 passes now. And I know it can do up to 4 passes, maybe more. Because 4 passes was 1 hour days, and they changed the default to an hour and a half long days. I'm trying to wait long enough here that I'm comfortable another pass isn't coming. When we get to the 30 after and I haven't heard the helicopter again, then we're going to go tearing down the road to the right. And then circle back to, get back to our home. Alright, I am satisfied that the helicopter is done. And so we're now going to escape our danger of... Where's my metal bat? Here you are. We're now going to escape the danger that is the zombies I've balled up. This will be a very challenging thing. You'll be amazed at the incredible amount of strategy and tactics that go into it. And by that I mean I'm going to walk away. Just gonna give a little stroll down the road. We're faster than the zombies. As long as we're not overburdened and tired and everything. So let's give a little stroll down the road here. And probably still have him behind me. And just like that, we are in the clear. Okay. So we're down here. What I'm going to go ahead and do real fast, we'll go symbols. Basically just marking I dumped a bunch of zombies over here. So what we want to do now is probably cross over, find this road, and go up. So we got a decent amount of day left. We can probably go ahead and just keep walking down this road, see if it tees off to another road. Maybe we'll find, like, a wrecked car, or, you know, one of the survivor zombies, maybe a tent or something. If not, that's fine. But we want to cross over to the east and then the north. We probably want to be very careful cutting through the woods right now, because the helicopters has a tendency to kind of, like, make everything scatter everywhere. It's one of the things that when you start doing longer term runs, early run you go up to a point of interest and you see there's a bajillion zombies there, and you go to the next point of interest and you see there's a bajillion zombies there. But as you played in the world longer and longer, and you got the helicopters zipping around, and migrations and redistributions and meta events and all these things happening, it'll start getting kind of harder to predict where zombies will be. Loosely, it'll still follow cities will be higher density, rural areas will be lower density, but because of how much the zombies get like pulled and pushed around by all the different things, or even just you driving around town and pulling the zombies out to the road through your actions and noises and whatever, as time goes on, just 4 random zombies down here. Were you part of a group that went into those trees? I saw another one go this way. And I'm just curious if that might have been a survivor zombie group. As far as I'm aware, there ain't crap out here. This is about the right number for a survivor zombie group. That very well could just be happenstance. We'll do one more lap, we'll look around, and we're going to be looking for a good backpack in their group. Well, actually, a backpack in the group. I guess it doesn't technically have to be good. Run away? I mean, why would I run? I'm literally balling these up on purpose. Yeah. I think it's just this area has some zombies scattered in the woods. Oh, if you think that's scary, you missed what we were doing like literally just 5 minutes ago. 5 minutes ago we had easily a factor of like 20 of that chasing me. It looks like there's just random zombies down here. It's probably that on the other side of these trees, over here on my right, there's probably farms over there, and I'm getting the zombies drug over from the helicopter from the farms. That does very much hold the point where I said don't cut through the woods after a helicopter and all that. And that's a perfect example of why you could be in the woods running into that crap. There's got to be something with a decent number of zombies nearby for this many zombies to be floating around here. Like whether it's a big farm or warehouses or industry. Okay, so we got a T intersection down here. We're going to be taking it to the right. The east. What are you... Ah, okay, there's the diner. Oh, I remember this place. This is not the way I should have gone. I am planning on going that way, but we're going to need to do a little finesse here. I need to ball the zombies up to give me more room to work. And clean. Yeah, so what I was doing there is where they're all spread out here. Trying to maneuver through all that while they were spread out everywhere is very hard. Because they can move away, like they can turn in ways you don't expect and all that kind of thing. But by running down there, making a bunch of noise, and then zigzagging back and forth and all that, it gave me a chance to ball up a bunch of the zombies, which then caused the other zombies to chase me and like kind of be more clumped up with each other, which gives me more gaps in between them to work with. Okay, so it looks like we're coming up onto places I know here on the east. Yep, and there is a road I've seen before. Yes. I generally don't do sprinters, and I cannot stand slow shamblers. Slow shamblers makes me want to rip my hair out of boredom. Because you'll aggro the one zombie and be like, oh my god, get over here. Like, you're not making it harder, you're just wasting my time. Okay, there is food and all that there, but I don't see any actual animals. Alright, yep, so we're way down here, unfortunately. Our home is up here. What I'm probably going to do is roll on up here. Oh, you know what? Maybe we can get by our spawn house and grab all that food we cooked and then we had to abandon. You find slow shamblers make it more difficult to accomplish what you did. Hurting the zombies here. Significantly easier to ball them when they're homogeneous speeds. I don't disagree. And what I was doing back there wasn't too bad, but where I was doing like the big murder ball before, that one does become a little bit harder to do. But in practice, I also still don't find it difficult because you can't fully like just ignore the slow shamblers. I don't want to overstate things, but broadly speaking, the slow shamblers are very unlikely to catch you because literally with the slow shamblers, if let's say that tree is a slow shambler. Literally, I could just walk up to it and then just go like that for like 2 steps, and I'll step out of its way. I've found the game to be far, far, far easier with slow shamblers or a mix that includes slow shamblers. The only thing that makes it hard is my own lack of patience when you have like a pinpoint hearing slow shambler and it's taking, you know, literally like 8 or 9 in-game hours to walk up to you, but it's right by a really big group of zombies, so you kind of have to just wait for it. And it's just like, okay man, this is not a fun difficulty. It's not like a difficulty where I'm having to try, it's a difficulty of being like, look man, how long before you finally just give up and run in and get yourself killed? Because you can't stand the wait anymore. That'll do. I just didn't want to go too ridiculously fast out of fear that I would over-encumber myself too much. Yeah, and I believe that's why they did the randomize on it, was just because I know the devs have historically said they don't like players being able to, you know, getting the Congo line of zombies and just slapping them down one by one by one. That they feel like it makes the game look bad. That one, like where you can ball them up like that, I honestly, so like both the Congo line where you knock them down and the balling them up like that, I don't know, that doesn't look bad to me. It's like, no, the person put in all the time, they figured out how to, you know, get this set up, they've made their move, they're doing their play, it was a lot of effort, you have to have the stats to back it up and everything. I mean, not the balling them, that doesn't require stats. It's like, let the person have that win. Yeah, I wanted to check to see if that truck had the keys in it. That's fine. Because, like, the Congo line thing, it's like, you can't do that till you start getting super juiced stats anyways. And do you know it looks way, way, way worse than all those things I just mentioned? Fence play. Where the zombies animate and glitch onto different sides of the fence, and they flip weird and all sorts of stuff, and... It's like, man... You're fighting so hard to stop one thing. And in a lot of ways, it means people are going to do the other thing. It's gonna look even worse, so... It's not that big a deal. And the reason I'm not bothering to fight out here is we have a walk home. And also the helicopter kind of really, really threw things everywhere. That's not going to be a survivor zombie, right? No. Just a dude with a duffel bag. But it's just one of those things that just like, okay. Actually, I take that back. Ooh, yeah, no, I think I have fast shamblers only. I think the hearing, the memory, and the eyesight I have randomed. Which also helps disperse them, because then, you know, the ones with pinpoint hearing will come from farther away, and the ones who have really terrible hearing will drop off much faster. So it does accomplish a little bit of trying to prevent having the big homogeneous ball. That's the reason I had a lot more trailing stuff when I started going down the highway when the ball got too big. But yeah, no, the walking speed. I think I'd be more on board with being willing to turn on slow shamblers if they weren't quite as slow. Like, instead of where they're like half or a quarter of the speed of the fast shamblers, maybe make them like 80% of the speed of the fast shamblers. Enough that they're going to get, like, over a walking period of time, they're going to get gapped apart. But not so much that when you want to pull one, you feel like you're just waiting forever for it to get there. Alright, and we are almost back. That's fine. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was up here that there was the cows that were super stressed out. Yeah. Let's see how bad the cow situation is now. Last time we rolled through, there was some cows here that were just absolutely losing their minds. That's because they were in a pen with like 50 zombies, and it was just stressing them out. You can't believe they named it Phallus Lake? Have you looked at the lake? There's a reason it has the name Phallus Lake. We used to call it Ekron, and there was this whole argument people were having on whether it's Ekron, or Lick Skillet, or a whole bunch of other ones. And then the devs finally came out, it's like, it's neither of those. It's like literally just a made-up town we put there. There's not a real-life equivalent to it. And I would allow the comment, it's just, you know, dealing with the thing here. Yeah, no, it's fine. The word phallus isn't like a swear word. Like if they, you know, if they like actually genuinely just straight up called out the human anatomy or whatever. I think I've got the mark incorrect on the map. So I marked this as being where the super sketchy cows were. That is not. So it must be over here somewhere. Yeah, I've lost track. There's somewhere around here there was a whole dairy farm. For me personally, I would rather fish. Like, I would rather deal with the fish for keeping our weight up than, like, the butter. Oh, no, wait a I spoke too soon. This is the dairy farm. There we go. Because in long term, well, and plus the other reason why, when it comes to like the keeping the cows or what other stuff, the other reason I like to fish versus the cows is with fish, I can go anywhere with the water and I can fish and just do that there. Versus the cows and all that. If I want to, you know, leave home to deal with it, I've got to go through a whole headache. But if we need weight, this is where we'd probably come for right now, is go down this way, kill off the zombies in the area, give the cows a chance to not be stressed to 1,000, and then start milking the cows. And then you get a butter churn, and then you churn lots and lots of butter. And they did nerf it a while back to be a little bit less generous, but it's still good. When Build 42 first dropped, you could just produce piles of butter in not very much time. So they made it so, like, I think you still only need, like, one cow to stay fed forever. But, like, it's kind of just barely, if I remember. I mean, that's just, like, literally eating just butter to stay up. Versus now you can keep your weight up with just one cow, if I remember correctly. Okay, this is close enough to home. Oh, that was a meta event that just went off. Looks like they're pulling the zombies southeast. So that should be fine. Oh, you just found Jason? That's one of my... Like, there's a bunch of those, like, little Easter eggs where they have, you know, a couple different, like, major IP horror, whatever nods. So we got a zombie here. This is the reason why we wanted to make sure we got back and we weren't exhausted. Oh yeah, if you're on low enough population, and thank you all, Care, for the tier 1 sub. I do really appreciate that. I do hope you've been enjoying the stream and all that. So this is not great. We do have zombies wandering around by the houses here. I had hoped we would have dodged the worst of this. And thank you, Randall Thor, for the 5 gifty subs. I do appreciate that. All right. Pop in this room. We can rest for a minute. I do appreciate that hype train and all that stuff and all those gifty subs, so thank you so much for that. So they are starting to get overburned. But I didn't want to just keep pushing right now out of concern that we would get ourselves in a bunch of stuff. And thank you, Jay Walker, for the 300 biddies. I do appreciate that as well. So what book were we reading? It was Mechanics, right? Alright, because we're a little bit too overburned now. I got 2 houses to go. And we do have zombies in the area. Not a lot. But enough it's not... Enough it's a little bit of a concern. I don't want to be overloaded. Let's pop over here. As much as I want to grab all these books, which book am I least likely going to need anytime soon? Masonry. Get it out of here. Okay, so here's hoping that we can get over here and get into our house without too much action. Because we shouldn't get very many zombies over here, because the river is just north of us. So there shouldn't be too much opportunity for zombies to be drawn, because once we clear out the zombies to the north, like, they can't come from the north side. They have to come from south, east, or west. Most will come from the west, because that's where town is. We do have a decent number east just from all the shenanigans going on. Okay, and this is home, so this is promising. Let's do it once around the block. And we're just checking to make sure it's not like a whole rally group of zombies behind the house or something where I go in there, go to go sleep, and suddenly my window explodes and 10 zombies pile in. Definitely had it before. Okay, so it's just like, it was just a couple of zombies. There's probably some zombies I drew into the trees here and there, or a meta event drug it across, or whatever. Hey, Moriarty, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. I do appreciate it. I've been subbed to the channel for 54 months. That's 4.5 years. That's a heckin' long time. So thank you so much for continuing to support the channel after all this time. I really could not, like, very genuinely could not do this with all the generous support that happens. Alright. Means a whole lot. Neither the windows are open. I thought I heard a zombie climb over a fence. And then expected trouble. Alright, so let's go in here, drop the ham in here. Drop the ground beef in there. I forgot how many carrots we have. Drop the grapes in there. Put the carrot seeds in here for now. Okay, you can put butchering 1 in here, carpentry 1 in there. Tracking 1 in here. Okay, and that clears up my inventory to be in a bit better shape. Alright, so let's get back to reading our book. Okay, and so what's going to happen here in just a couple minutes, chat, is we are going to be getting ready to switch categories. We do have a sponsored segment tonight playing the game Necess, which if you ever played the game Terraria, it's like someone took the camera, pivoted it over top, but it's also got mechanics that are like, kind of like maps in Path of Exile, and you got incursions where you get these attacks that you have to hold off, and they've got their new Rust and Romance update that came out, I believe, yesterday, where that's kind of like a Stardew Valley romance that you could do between your other characters if you want and all that. So it's kind of a hard game to be like, this is what this game is about, because there's just more and more things they keep adding. But it's a pretty cool game and all that. For those who are like, but I like, look, man, I got my Spiffo tattoo. It's on my eyelid. I just want more. I just need more Product Zomboid. Don't worry, it is coming back. Most likely, it won't be tomorrow. We have had the last 4 streams have all been Product Zomboid, and I am a variety streamer, so it'll probably take one day to do something else, and then come back to Product Zomboid after that. I had been saying between, like, RimWorld and checking out the new Water Park Simulator 2 1.0 update, and low-key, because we had someone pop in here earlier, it's like, still no RimWorld. I kind of just want to be bitter about it, and just play Water Park Sim, just to deny them the RimWorld. I understand there's way more people who want to see RimWorld around here too. We'll see. Get one of those trampolines with hand tattoos with Spiffo. Yep. No RimWorld. Yeah, well, I mean, we're definitely gonna be playing more RimWorld. I have a run that's like super duper far into it, that we've been doing an Odyssey run that I definitely want to see through. We'll see. Like like I said, it's part of me just being spiteful a little bit, because we had someone who popped, and then they were still like, oh, when are you going to play RimWorld again? That's all fine. But just when someone popped in here earlier today and was like, still no RimWorld, it's like, okay, well, that's rude. Like, I'm allowed to take a break from a game for a couple of days, especially when, as a content creator, you've got the pressure of all these different games updating and coming out and doing all that stuff. It creates a lot of pressure to bounce around. All right, so what's going to end up happening here is I'm going to get everything switched over. If you're watching on YouTube, the YouTube stream will come down and then come back up in the new category, because YouTube doesn't let us split the stream in different categories. It's badly designed. So that'll be going down for just a minute. And then while that's going down, we're going to go ahead and pop off here. But yeah, so we'll continue this playthrough, like I said, probably not tomorrow, probably the next day.